Hello, and welcome to yet another Halt and Catch Fire Recap FREQCast. I'm Carolyn, and this week I'm thrilled to have Anita back here with me. Anita, hi, how are you?
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm back, and with a cold. Thanks, Europe.
Oh, no. Well, yeah. I don't know if you can blame that on Europe. You do?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
It is Europe's
Okay,
fault.
Europe,
the entire continent
You're
of
on
Europe.
notice, Europe. Yeah,
So
but
I missed some shit.
you did. You missed, the past 2 weeks, Ryan and I held down the fort while you were away.
Good.
And
you did a great job.
Thank you. And I think 2 weeks ago was not a good episode.
It wasn't. I know. I caught up on them. It wasn't that great, but the not this one that we're going to talk about, but the one before was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
There's one. You
go.
already talked about it.
Yeah.
There's one little detail in the previous episode that I feel like is just quintessentially one of the one of the micro details that makes me really love this show. When they find out that, when Boz is talking to the programmer and he's like, figure it out, like, you need to just figure out how this worked and get better and blah, blah, blah. The programmer's like, you go ask your guy. Like, go ask him who programmed it to whatever. And I just love those small details of, like, the acknowledgement of
that
sexism.
just assumed, exactly. And the show doesn't even, doesn't have to make a big deal out of it. It's just like, it's just there. But
it's just there.
Yeah.
And I feel like they do that a lot in this show, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So this week's episode, just, big picture before we dive into it, I thought was really, really excellent.
Did you?
I really did.
Okay.
Yeah. And, to me, this episode, so much happened. It covered so much ground. But I felt like this did that the right way with lots of, like, character observations and, character moments. Which, while the episode 2 weeks ago, which similarly felt like it was, like, rushing, or that episode felt rushed to me, whereas this one did not. Like, this one felt like it covered a lot of ground, but not in a way that felt kind of forced or whatever.
I felt like it was a solid episode.
Okay.
I wasn't, like, it was not bad at all, and it wasn't exceptional.
Okay.
It was just, like, solidly good. And
All
I
right.
think part of why I say that is the character beats were just so on the nose.
Okay.
Right? Like, there was, like, oh, we're going to have a conversation in the kitchen about babies, and then we're going to, then that's going to be used against me later on, and then I'm going to bring it up again here. And so, like, it was, and then, like, Donna spiraling. Like, there was just all these moments that you're, like, felt too obviously contrived and built into this unit, which you do have to do as a writer in these spaces, but it felt a little more obvious than usual.
Okay, yeah. So that's totally fair.
Is it fair?
It is. I mean, I definitely. I can't. Yes, I'll allow it. So yeah, let's kind of just dig in.
I don't even know where to begin with this episode. Like, there's a lot of different pieces.
There's so many pieces. I'm just going to try to, like, kind of take us forward
let's do
through
character by character.
Oh, you want to do it that way, but that's tough because they're so intertwined.
I know, but I feel like
okay.
Yeah,
I mean, we can.
I feel like I'm pushing you.
No.
beyond
I
your
mean,
limits.
I mean, it's. I'm a little outside of my comfort zone, but I think we can give this a try.
Well, because, like, for me, this episode was very much like this train of thought with this character and this train of thought with this character and vice versa. Sorry, not vice versa, and continually.
Yeah.
So I feel like it wasn't so much like the progress of the entire show as much as it had little bits of character progress, right? So maybe not. I don't know.
Well,
maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know.
It's happened before.
That's debatable. But
let's get to it.
All right. So let's, there was this the scene early in the episode where Donna has Cecil there in the office, talking to him about his need to depart from Rover. And what kind of struck me about this scene, what made it kind of interesting to me, was that in this act of letting Cecil know in no, like, uncertain terms that he has to leave, basically, she seemed, even doing this thing that's hard and painful, she seemed like she showed more compassion and warmth than I feel like she has in a long time.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think part of it was, so it was shot in this way where she seemed like this big epic,
Yes.
like on her throne.
There's that shot like where it just makes her desk look so vast, and like she's, you know, it kind of makes her look both powerful but also isolated.
Yeah, and I did catch that too, where she was like, she did have some compassion while also, you know, having to be like, no, this is the way it is, and like, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't even, I'm sorry. It's just, I know that this sucks for you.
Yeah.
Which, this is part of why I'm like, I feel like talking about this in terms
Sure,
of character arc.
sure.
Because fast forward to the very end, when she's talking about how her 21-year-old self, or however she was, walking in with that
symphonic.
And her adult self being like, this is bullshit and garbage. Like, that juxtaposition, I think, was very intentional.
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely. We see in that, I mean, of course it was intentional, and I agree, and we see in that how she is aware that she doesn't like the person who she's become. I mean, so okay, let's actually talk more about Donna.
I knew it.
So,
so I had two oh my god moments, and they were both with Donna.
Really?
The first was when she woke up.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they totally slept together, which we can circle back around to.
Yeah.
And then another one was when she was driving and singing really loud, and you're like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, this episode did a really good job of showing just how intensely she's spiraling.
Right. So I'm actually in a very early, it was either the first or second episode, it was one of the, the two-parter that aired on the first night. There's this kind of montage of Donna in all of these like venture capital settings, like all these kind of fancy dinners and everything. And she is always drinking in that montage. And I actually made a note at the time in my notes for our podcast, like, Donna has a drinking problem. But then I thought, well, okay, the show didn't say anything about it. Like, actually, maybe it's just like she's just hobnobbing and schmoozing in that world. Maybe it's not a thing. But that scene where Joni comes home and it's obvious that Donna has been hitting the wine way too hard.
I think that was actually done so well, because the first scene with Joni, she's like, wow, you're really fearless and brave and blah, blah, blah.
It's a great scene. It's like a great bonding moment.
And then the second one rolls around and she says the exact same thing, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, it's super.
And then they cut to they cut to her wine glass, and Joni realizes it, and like, the whole thing is just so tragic. Yeah. And then they did such a good job, because the next shot was her in the car, and you're like, she's fucking driving drunk.
Yeah, I was terrified during that scene.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I'm like, hey, props to, I when I drove, loved to belt out the, the We Belong or whatever pop song is blasting, but, keep your eyes on the road. And so, it's one of the situations where when she got pulled over, I was actually like super relieved, because, I mean,
it wasn't an accident.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, and then we get that really kind of nice moment with her and Gordon in a way where, obviously they still care about each other. Yeah. And, I think I don't agree with what he says to her of like, well, the 21-year-old you or whatever wasn't all sweet and innocent, and the current you isn't that ruthless. Like, I mean, I think Donna obviously needs to look into what she's doing, but it's so obvious that the drinking is rooted in this, these inner conflicts about who she's become and what she's doing.
Yeah, so I was thinking about Donna and Gordon in this episode too, because so there's that scene at the end, and like, clearly she can't take support. Like, because he tries to like hold her hand, and it's clear that she's just like, I'm a disaster and don't come near me. Yeah. But you're the only person I have, because you're the one that I called, and you're the last person I probably would want to know that I did this. Yeah, right. Especially in terms of co-parenting, which I made a note about, because I was thinking about, like, they get on the phone, they have their weekly dinners or whatever.
Their conversations about the kids,
dinners, and they get on the phone, and she's like, Gordon's like, they're talking about how Haley's grades are she's doing really badly in school. Yeah. And I was like, oh, there's this really lovely parenting, like, modeling that they're doing. Like, I actually like that, even though, it's tense or whatever, but that's fine.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that, oh, what was I thinking? God, being sick is the worst. I was thinking that, like, it's so hard for me to remember them being together.
Right,
like, the show has done such a good job of, like, changing them as people and changing the time period, like, evolving time, that I was like, oh my God, they were together.
Yeah.
Like, can you picture them in their house?
Right.
Working
yeah, it totally feels like, that's in the, that's dead and buried. Like, that is in the past.
Yeah.
They've moved on. And
Absolutely.
yeah. So the final scene is kind of both a, final interaction is kind of both a Cameron and Donna interaction, but let me talk about it here a bit, because Donna goes out to see Cameron, and when I see her car rolling up out in that green, I'm like, oh, she's finally gonna like make she's coming to like reach out, like really connect with Cameron as a human being. She loves, she sees something in Pilgrim, she wants to change her life, like she's trying to do something, but she comes out there, and it's to compensate or to get Cameron to sign the release for the algorithm, and ostensibly also to compensate her. But Cameron's like, you don't need to pay me. But what was so frustrating to me about that scene is the way that Cameron, gives Donna this like in. Cameron says like, Cameron's concerned about Donna. She says, like, are you okay?
Right. I found this scene to be kind of confusing because, like, the tension between Cameron and Donna is not one-sided. And Cameron walks out and is smiling and is pleasant and is friendly. And I was so like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Is it because Cameron feels bad that she lied to Donna? And like, that's not what it seemed like to me.
I agree that seemed odd. Like, my best guess is, well, Cameron's just in a moment of feeling fairly good about herself because she's got this thing with this other woman to like do whatever, and so she's able, and she's got the MCI dude showing up to hook up her internet out at the Airstream. So she's able to start doing what she loves again.
Yeah.
And I think it's just that, like, Donna caught her in a good moment.
Yeah, and because Cameron is very what's the word? Like id driven, right?
Yes, yeah. But so Cameron does give Donna this in. She says, "Are you okay?" And Donna's response is, "Thank you for this. I won't bother you again." And it's like, Donna's just, come on, say something. Just say like, I really like Pilgrim, or just say something.
Or I figured it out.
Or
when nobody else did,
exactly.
Or whatever, right?
Something. So because I really thought like, okay, this is episode 6 out of 10. We only have 4 episodes left. What's gonna happen? They're really keeping it. They're taking this further than I thought they would.
Yeah, I think. So this might be the obvious prediction, but because when Donna was in the room with Annabeth,
Diane.
Thanks. I thought she was gonna get fired or leave.
I totally did too. Yeah.
Or so she might leave, and so when she's driving up to Cameron's to get this, and I was like, oh, so you're still working there.
Yeah.
Like, it sounded like you were about to, like, bail. But maybe that's just happening in my head, because what I'm imagining is that they will all come together in the end, right?
Yeah.
They will all be working on a thing in the end. And the fact that Donna had that conversation with Homeboy about mutiny and community and, like, her being like, this was the best time of my life. And him being like, this, like, basically made me do what I'm doing, and I'm, like, the big shot that everybody wants right now.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, okay, are they going to do that? Are they going to come together again? Is it even possible to recreate that kind of magic that they had? Is she going to seek that out because she's become so almost soulless in her current position?
And I think she, in one way or another, I think she is. Like, I don't know what form, I have no idea what form it's going to take, but I really think that's where things are heading.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who's next? Let's talk about Joe.
Okay.
So Gordon he didn't play a huge part in this.
Sort of in relation to Joe and Haley.
Yeah.
So Joe, yeah.
So I think that Joe is like, I love his character this season.
Me too.
So much, because you watched him be such a dick for so many years, and now he's really like, okay, I am, he's this brilliant, like, businessman and, like, technologist or whatever, but he's also learning how to be human, and I love that.
Me too.
He's learning how to be human with Gordon and with Cameron.
Yeah.
And the development and the growth and the energy of that is really appealing to me. So when he's, like, when you see him smiling with the rockets And then they have this really contrived conversation about having kids in the kitchen that I was like,
yeah.
Like this is totally just plot point, right?
Yeah,
But I wanted more.
Yeah.
I wanted more of that because I wanted to see him. Like, I wanted to see the struggle with the relationship and what that means in terms of their growth and how they tackle this issue now that they are trying to be more adult.
Right.
Right?
Yes. And, you know, I mean, a lot of that is, I mean, that's obviously, like, Joe and Cameron stuff, right? Like, there's the point later where Joe sees, like, the Post-it on his monitor or whatever. It says, like, you know, had to think, went out to the Airstream, C, XO, you know, C. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, is this, you know, is Cameron being, like, not being as invested in this relationship as she needs to be? Or is this, like, is she just somebody who kind of needs her time and her space sometimes? And Joe, it's like, if you're going to really be in a relationship with Cameron and really respect her, like, you just have to, like, totally accept that she really needs her space a lot of the time. Like, I mean, I think like, being in a relationship with Cameron is not the easiest thing in the world.
No, definitely not. But I mean, was there... I didn't know how to read that. Like, is there tension there? Like, is the Post-it note there because Joe is like, oh, I wish you were here with me, but you're not?
Right, yeah.
Like, I don't actually know what that was supposed to mean.
Yeah.
Maybe it literally, like, explained why she was there. Or that we're like, oh, she's going to think about whether she should take this thing, which we'll talk about. Let's stay on Joe for a minute.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so, it's these interesting stuff going on there.
Yeah.
And him just, like, kicking it with Boz.
So yeah, hold on. Well, there's a lot of stuff that happens before Boz. So let's go back a bit because so last episode, I talked to Ryan about how Joe seems to be in the midst of something of a crisis because his whole thing, like part of his identity is identifying what the trends are, where things are going, and like being on top of that, being like taking the pulse of the industry and like tapping into whatever's happening right now, and he had lost that, and he's like, I don't even know what problem I'm trying to solve, and without that, it's like Joe, who even is Joe if he doesn't have that? Yeah. So this episode, he's trying to like figure out like what is the thing here, and so he takes his huge ass camcorder and goes around asking everybody like what's the first word that comes to mind when you hear internet. Some people say computers, a lot of people say porn. And then you get like this really sweet scene with Haley.
I loved this scene.
This scene is...
It was so...
Yeah.
It was... Haley, it's weird as an adult to look at it, but be like, oh my God, Haley represents me as a teenager in every way. Mm-hmm. Like, all of that shit. And so it was weird to be like, but I'm looking down on you as an adult now.
Right.
But like, so he's asking her what the internet means to her.
Exactly. And, she gives like the best answer for a Joe McMillan figure, like the absolute thing that's what you tap into one way or another. She says it's a place where people really are themselves. They can express themselves. They can be who they are. The parts of themselves they can't be in real life, they can be that. Yeah. Yeah.
And I loved that because when they were talking about, there's that woman Vanessa that works there that she's all like either has a crush on or wants to be friends with. It's unclear at this point.
Oh, she totally has a crush on her.
I know. I'm just saying. Cool. I'm super down with that. But also, like when I met like or saw people like that, I was like, I don't know if I want to be you or be with you.
That's fair.
Or like at the teenage, like the queerness of a teenage life. Yes, I think is confusing.
And Haley may not. To understand what she's feeling.
I think that's true, yeah. But so they're talking about like Heavens to Betsy and Bratmobile.
That's right.
And I was like, oh my God, this was so me. And the moment, so I think it was really well done because they have this whole like bonding experience. She's talking about like her friends at school are garbage and which I exactly had that. I was like, I hate all my friends at school and all my friends were online. Like that's what you did.
Yes.
And then you have the scene with Cameron looking at fan pages.
Right.
And there's a fan page about her, and one they did a great job of designing
making it totally look like a GeoCities.
It was terrible. It was like a really, really patterned background with text that you could barely read and like pictures sort of mishmashed. And I was like, the combination of the conversation with Haley talking about why she's online and how she jumped the hurdle from just like random websites to like deep and meaningful interactions, to like building these fan pages, which I totally did when I was a teenager, right?
Yep.
On GeoCities, it's how I learned to code. And so having Cameron look at that and be like, oh my God, someone made this about me, right?
Yeah.
And so the combination of all of that just felt so genuinely sincere to the time period for me.
I'm sure, yes. I mean, I was a little older, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're right. Like, that stuff is so great. And, you know, but to go back to talking about Joe's growth as a person, I mean, so Haley, he totally understands what's going on with Haley. And I think he does, like, the kindest thing that any adult in that situation can do. Like, he doesn't force Haley to talk about it. He doesn't even, like, make it clear that he knows. He just says, like, she seems cool, you know? Just kind of, like, just that kind of, almost to nudge her, to kind of, he wants to say, like, it's okay, like, it'll be okay, but without kind of making her embarrassed or making her feel like it's completely obvious. So I thought that moment was so great. And, you know, later he gets into it with Gordon, talking about Haley. And Gordon, again, is like, Joe rather, is really trying to like encourage Gordon to really listen to Haley or give her space to express who she is or be who she is, but without, you know, while respecting Haley's privacy and not saying that, you know, he kind of says it in code. He's like, she's like me. She's kind of like me.
Which I thought was a funny choice because, first of all, Gordon is very badly cleaning, right? He just keeps like smudging the shit
the
on
milkshake,
board.
you know, what do you do with a milkshake? I mean, it's,
But like, I was like, saying that your daughter is like this dude that Gordon doesn't really entirely might not have been the best strategy, but I get what he was trying
to say, like, as she's kind of an outsider. She wants a place to fit in.
So then Gordon walks to, like, goes in, which, can we also talk about why Gordon has a fucking driver?
That is so weird. Why does he have a driver? But maybe it's related to his.
I was thinking that.
But he drives to the jail to pick up Donna.
Yeah, I think it's a leftover from when they were like a big. Remember when they were like that's the first company that was like making a ton of money and they had a driver and they were doing the whole thing.
Right.
Like, maybe whatever. We don't actually need to talk about it. But I was
I totally thought like, well, this is so.
I feel like it's a piece of the script that like maybe forgot to get changed as the season developed.
Or just like one of those little details that they just throw in there to, like, you know, the opulence of Gordon. Anyway.
Right, yeah, true. So he walks in and he sees her name badge and I was like, but you don't know her name.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, so what?
Did I miss something?
Yes. So on Haley's rocket, she drew this design. And Vanessa, the employee at the restaurant at the end, was wearing something that revealed that she has tattoos that are exact. Yes.
Oh.
Yes. Which is so. It's so convenient that, like, you know, it's very convenient. But he goes in and, like, he sees that, and I think, and then he starts to put two and two together.
Okay. Oh, that's cute, though.
It's cute. Yeah.
Can we talk about those fucking rockets? I didn't get rockets.
I never set off a rocket. I know. Dude. And yeah, like, what I like too about that scene is it's great to see. It's great to see, like, Haley and Katie getting along. You know, like, that's just really nice.
It was super nice. Yeah. I love that whole scene. Was great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, go ahead.
No, never mind. We haven't gotten to. We'll get to it when we talk about. Cam and or Gordon.
Okay. Well, who's next?
Well, no. We still have to. So Joe. Sorry, there's still a little bit more about Joe.
This is the most disorganized.
It really is.
Podcast.
But yeah. There's a lot that we had a lot happened in this episode. So you mentioned earlier, like, he goes and he talks to. So Boz calls for Cam. And he's like, you know, Cam's not here. Can I take a message? And Boz's like, nah, I'll call back later. And Joe is like, how are you holding up? Boom! Cut to, like, Boz and Joe having beers.
Which seems so weird to me. It was a convenient way to drop the baby thing again. Like, they were just like, oh, we need to mention this again somehow. Like, what was the fucking point of that whole scene?
I thought it was. I didn't find that. I guess I didn't find that particularly like unnatural or whatever. Like, I feel like, you know,
it's kind of
who can Joe talk to about Cameron, you know, better than Boz, who kind of, you know, like, he knows her in a very different way.
That scene felt to me like the one episode of Game of Thrones that I watched this season where it was just like, where it was like literally like 5 seconds of a bunch of scenes. And you're like, what the fuck happened to this show?
Okay.
So it was kind of like just thrown in there as a plot point, as like a way to progress the story. I think it was sweet and lovely, but it felt so like...
I think maybe... yeah, and also, like, there's not a whole lot of Boz in this episode. Like, that's kind of Boz's moment. Yeah. And so,
I loved the last line when Joe walked out and he's like, and if you ever need a place to stay, we can take you. Yeah. And his face, like, that interaction was really, really cute.
Yeah. So let's, since there isn't a whole lot to say about Boz, let's, just get him out of the way right here. Because the one thing I guess I really appreciated about Boz in this episode, and it's not anything about the story or the episode, but it's the acting, which is, so the name of the actor who plays Boz is Toby Huss. And, most of the characters in the core ensemble are like, in their late so Cameron's 32, Gordon, I think, is 40, Donna's got to be in her late 30s, and Joe is 45. And so they're all, like, still young-ish, and it doesn't really... it doesn't really bother me that these actors are probably a little younger than the characters they're playing, because they're still playing fairly young people. But Boz, he's 65, the character, and he, I think, has much more than any of their characters in just a kind of physical sense of aging. Like, he really seems like he's older, you know what I mean? And so Toby Huss, the actor who plays him, is 50, which is like younger still than Boz was probably in like the first when we first meet him in the first season. So I just really think like, oh, he's doing a really great job of playing this character who actually has gotten older. Like it's kind of it's in the physicality, it's in the voice. Like it's just
that totally surprised me. It just occurred to me why that scene is important.
Okay.
Because it was Joe's future. Boz is Joe's future. Because they both have always been striving and striving and striving. And what point do you stop striving? And what point do you feel like you're not important anymore?
Right,
and so that was that was the purpose.
Right. I think you're right. It's also it's nice in that it acknowledges that Joe is changing, right? Boz is like, oh, the guy I hired was a total asshole. And so Joe, everyone's aware that Joe is growing as a person. Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, so where does that leave us? Cameron?
Cameron.
I guess so. Yeah. Okay, let me see here. Where do we start?
So we gotta wait. We gotta talk a little bit more about Donna too. So there's Cameron and Donna are the two next ones.
Yes.
Where would you like to begin?
Let's begin with Cameron. Okay.
So I've been saying this whole season that I think that Cameron, so far before this episode, even with this episode, that I think the character development on all of these characters is spot on. And with Joe, it's exponential growth and maturity. Yeah. With Cameron, it's like not growth and maturity. Right. And so I feel strongly that it makes a lot of sense that Cameron's trying to grow up and trying to do better, and you see glimmers of it, but then you also see regressions of it. You see her like going back into this like really selfish space where like, almost like this is a little extreme example, but almost like trauma reactions, right? Where you're like, nobody, like my family was awful to me, and nobody, like, no one can stick around, I'm on my own, right? And so she's sort of fluctuating back and forth between trusting people and not trusting people. So this episode was really interesting because we have been watching and have continued to watch her deal with failure.
Yes.
And she does not deal with it well. Yes. Right?
Yes. So there's a great, so during the rocket scene, there's a nice conversation between her and Gordon, right? Where Gordon, Gordon's, or Cam says, I'm over tech, I'm done with it. And Gordon's like, well, what, you're washed up at 32? Do you have any idea what people said about the symphonic? Like how much that got trashed when it came out? And he's like, I know you dream in code, and she's just like, not anymore. And I think it's because, yes, she cannot reconcile the idea that, Pilgrim was a kind of a failure of a kind with the idea or belief that she may actually like be really brilliant and talented and have more things to share with the world. Which
I think is totally valid. Like, and when I say not growing and not dealing with failure well, like, I think that her reactions are completely understandable.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like, this is devastating, and like I can totally understand why you would have a early midlife crisis and why you'd be like, fuck this shit, I'm gonna go do a whole new career or whatever. And, you know, like, even though she's incredibly talented, right? So
I just want to say again, we've talked about this in our first podcast, but I always love the friendship between Gordon and Cam. It's kind of like, to me, one of the purest relationships on the show, because it doesn't have any of the complications that so many of the other relationships have, you know? Yeah. It just has that. They're just two people who want what's best for each other. Yeah, okay. And, you know, so, I really like that.
Yeah, so Cameron has this, she finds this fan page, and she, like, is clearly finds it cute and sweet and, like,
she's
whatever.
Touched by the fact that
absolutely. And then she has this meeting with this woman, which, first of all, before that meeting, so the shots, one of the cinematography on the show is beautiful. I hate, ever since Ryan pointed out that everything is green, it's driving me nuts, and I fucking hate it. But the shots are really beautiful, and you'll notice, like, the positioning of the characters in the frames. They're very atypical from normal, like, television shooting. Yeah. But this shot in the diner or in the sort of coffee shop with the big murals of people, and then the shots of Cameron and this woman in that, like, it was they were breathtaking shots.
Yeah.
So, who is this woman?
Right. Seriously,
where did she
what
come
a
from?
weird, business meeting. Like,
where does she have money to fund this
That's
thing?
the thing is, like, and Cameron doesn't, I mean, maybe Cameron already knows, but I think all of us as viewers are like, what? Like, how? Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, it's just so baffling. Like, she has plenty of money to hire Cameron to do whatever she wants. Yeah. And so, like, what exactly is Cameron creating? I mean, obviously it's stuff for games. Yeah. This woman specifically says she doesn't think she thinks Cameron is a world builder. Yeah. So, we can assume, okay, Cameron will do, like, design work, graphics, visuals, art, kind of.
But that also doesn't, that's what I thought. Yeah. It was like, join our team to make our games better, but she's like, just do whatever you want, which doesn't mean, like, I'm going to pair you with a game designer.
Right. So, like, it's very, and it also it's a little weird to me, because I really thought that, that Donna was going to be kind of the person who came in to fill this need Cameron has for, like, to get Pilgrim published, or to do something creative again with her talents. But now there's this woman who kind of comes out of nowhere and kind of is filling that role.
And at first I thought she was meeting with the woman who did the fan page, and then you're like, you're not the woman who did the fan page. Like, so this is what I'm talking about with this episode. Like, there are these it felt like there were these, like, moments that had to get filled. And so it felt a little jagged, like, to me, in this way. Sure. But I'm curious about that. And then next thing you know, so clearly she's inspired and is like, this is like Cameron's, like, bait, right? Like, this is she's just like, let me be free to do what I want, because I am this tortured artist creative type, right? And then she's got the internet, and that last scene where it's the dial-up to the music. You're just like,
and to an Airstream, there's something about that says, like, this is where the internet starts becoming, like, everywhere, right? Like, she's not in the city. She's, in this green place in her little trailer, but she's got the internet out there now. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Donna.
So, yeah.
Oof, Donna. Oof. Babe. She's spiraling real hard, and, like, I think it makes sense, right? Like, we watched her at the beginning of the season being like, holy crap, you've kind of become the enemy in a lot of ways, right? And then you're just watching her be taken off her project. You're watching her fuck up her family, like, or, like, being drunk in front of her kids. Like, she's sleeping with this guy that she just hired, which is, like, cool. Be sexually free and what you want, but also that was a bad move.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's going to make things off. Yeah,
right. And so, like, the question is, for me, like, is she gonna? What is So she justified being drunk. She was like, I only had a couple glasses of wine. It wasn't real. Like, she's probably spiraling into this like alcoholic space where she doesn't really believe that she's doing it. So the question is, does she spiral more, or is this is this gonna be a wake up call? Gordon did not hold her feet to the fire in any way.
Right,
so like,
right, yeah.
You know, she didn't. I don't think she noticed what she did to Joni. Because she just I'm just going to play a game. So what's going to happen? Is she going to quit her job? Is she going to get fired from it?
Right. Like, there's so many questions. I mean, obviously things with her and Diane are strained right now. Yeah, I mean, and you know, it's pure speculation. I feel like Donna's going to fall a little farther. You know, I don't think, you know, she's going to hit like the rockiest of rock bottoms, but I don't think she's done kind of.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think she may lose the job, and maybe it'll suck, but ultimately it'll be like the best thing that happened to her, because out of that she will kind of find her way back to like who she really wants to be and what she really wants to be doing.
Let's hope so.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not the biggest like happy ending person, but I really want a happy ending for this show, right?
I do too.
I really want to see them all like working on something magnificent together.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe they'll like leapfrog into VR or something.
You know, for whatever reason, like when they were leading up to like the birthday rocket scene, you know, it just seemed like, oh, they're setting up this perfect happy moment. This like, oh, something's gonna happen to Gordon here. Like he's gonna have.
Dude, the whole time I'm just like, Gordon's gonna die, and fuck you. Like I'm just the whole time I'm like, this is what's gonna happen. God damn it.
Yeah. So.
All right. 4 more episodes.
Yeah.
See how this goes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm feeling pretty good overall about the show's trajectory. I think we're gonna come away happy with how they wind things up, and I'm so glad they got to do this 4th season. So we'll see where it goes from here.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.